Recording.
All right, so we have the majority, we have everything pretty much set up the way it's going to be. So we're just going to use a light stand, or a music stand in place of one of your assistants actually holding the light target. So we just have this music stand. You want to put it at about waist height. You just hold the target. You want to hold the target, roughly in about this height to somebody. Because remember, the coaches are this tall, the kids are this tall, and so we want to kind of shoot the middle for the exposure difference. Now you also want to always make sure that you have your target at the front of where the feet are, not in the back. Because if you expose for here, the closer you get, they're going to be overexposed. If they stand here, they're going to be even more overexposed. So always just right at the very front of where that person's going to be is where you want to set your actual exposure. So you want to, that's super important. We want to make sure that that's the same on every station that we have. When we're running 1, 2, 3, 4 stations at one time at one location, they all have to have the exact same exposure. Otherwise, it creates production nightmares and higher production costs. So we really want to. Our production people get kind of grumpy. And their office is here, and then they get grumpy with me. So anyway, we don't want that. We want to keep the production folk happy. So anyway, so that's where you want to have everything. Woo, it's going to fall. That's still probably pretty good. The kid's the most important thing. All right, so now we're going to come over here, and we have this all set up. Let's just run through our settings real quickly again. We're going to start at F8. We're going to start with 200th of a second. We're going to start on ASA ISO of 200. Again, you have your neutral autofocus set to just basically, it always just gets whoever's standing there. You'll want your HDR off, your whatever that ADL off, and we're going to set on pre, which is our custom. We're actually going to set that white balance in a minute after we get our exposure pretty good. Our light is up top. It's already turned on. And we are going to start at, we're going to take this off the stand, and we're going to start our light. We're going to probably start, I like to start at like 5, just to kind of start. And once you get this, your light settings aren't going to change a whole lot, as from location to location to location. Really the only thing that's going to, because the light itself, as long as it's in the same spot, in the same distance and everything, there's a slight variation here and there. That's what the 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4s are for. You're never going to get it exactly the same. So there you go. So as you've already been taught, I'm going to set this aside for just a second. As you've already been taught, you photograph this part with just a little bit of white, little bit of black. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, little bit of white, little bit of dark. And as you can see, it's way dark, even from the screen. So we're going to hit play. I want to see what that is. If you hit your up arrow, it'll actually show you your histogram. Everything is way over here. So we're gonna do a couple little things. I don't want to go too much past 5 at this point, unless I have to. And so what we're gonna do is, again, we're also outside. We're also inside, so things are gonna be a little bit different on this when you're outside. But basically what you want to do is change your ASA first, your ISO. We're going to go there. Oh, hold on. We're going to go there, hit that. We're going to change it to 640. We're going to start there. There we go. Perfect. And we're going to go shoot that again. All right, there you go. So now we're getting back up there. We're still way to the left. So we're going to add some more exposure. We're going to go, I'm going to just go a full stop and a half, which is 6.5. Make sure you're not in front of the light. The last thing you want to do is be here because that's where the light's coming from. There we go. So we have our little bit of peak, little bit of, oh crud, there we go. And so now we're getting there, we're almost there. You know, our middle, if you hit that, that's actually pretty good, but we can still go just a little bit more. So we're gonna go to, we're just gonna go a half stop, which is up to 7. And look at that. So our peak, our black is right there in the middle. Our highlight is right there in the middle of the side. And our gray is right there in the middle, just like it should be. Now I am going to do one thing. How you know it's the correct exposure is there are some lines there that you can barely see. The highlight will be the same distance from that line as the shadow will be from its line. And then this will be pretty much in the middle. I'm actually going to go down. I'm going to take 0.1 of a stop down just to get things a little bit more this side, because it's better to underexpose a little than it is to overexpose a little. All right, there you go. So we still have our highlight and shadow distances are roughly the same from their corresponding lines. The gray is just to the left of the middle of the histogram itself. That's the perfect place to be. Now you can take all of these settings and apply them to your next station as a starting point. You may have to go up just a little or down just a little on your light settings, but then that's actually, you know, zoom out with your lens and take a picture of the whole scene real quickly. And I actually want you to include that in the digital images until you start getting things into actual projections themselves. I want you to start including that in with your photos. And then Jasper here in production will actually show you how to get things all the way into Got Photo and then into the actual production phase using the next gen system within Got Photo as well. So that's just part of what we're going to learn this year, this season. You know, baby steps, and that's the next step. So, but this way I can see that you guys did everything that you needed to do. The last step we need to do, actually before we even do that, I forgot, is we need to set our white balance. And so go back to your main screen, hit the pre, and then it goes to the pre screen, and then just hit OK real quickly, and then it goes back to here. Now, once it's on back to the main screen and this is lit, hold down the OK button until the pre starts flashing. There you go, pre starts flashing. Now what I want you to do is I want you to photograph this area of the target, the gray and the white. So just focus on those. There's your white balance. It'll say data acquired. If it doesn't say data acquired right there on the bottom, then you need to actually do it again. And then I believe it also says good if you're looking through to the viewfinder. So there you go. And then when you're shooting, now just go ahead, zoom all the way out. There's that. There's your actual exposure. And again, include that with your thing. And that is, just include that with your photos and we're good to go. Okay. And that is it for this video. This flips down for out of your way. We'll talk about framing here on the next video.